Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. It's been over 9 months since that little election in November of 2024 tipped the scales and caused the great cultural shift. And for some, that might feel like it was just yesterday, and for others, it might feel like it was a decade.
I'm gonna come.
And while 2025 has been a tumultuous year, one thing you can't say is it's been boring. Still, it might have made it difficult to see the forest through the trees. Some will say woke is dead, or at the very least on bended knee. Others will say they're just circling the wagons and waiting to rebrand. And while that is debatable, and believe me, we'll get into that, it is undeniable over the last 9 months, the woke industrial complex has gotten its ass kicked. Thanks to the aforementioned cultural shift that was long overdue. And what evidence do we have of the woke industrial complex getting its ass kicked, you ask, dear viewer? Good question. I would like to thank the ex-Twitter handle of Sir Bill Holt for putting together this gratitude list. CNN ratings are in a week-to-week death spiral along with MSNBC's. Rachel Maddow had to take a pay cut. Wolf Blitzer and Jake Tapper were denied raises. Joy Reid was fired. Jim Acosta is gone. Neil Cavuto is gone. Lester Holt is gone. Chuck Todd is gone. Chris Wallace is gone. PBS defunded. NPR is defunded. USAID is gone. And I'm sure USAID's demise has absolutely nothing to do with the things I have mentioned or I'm about to. Total coincidence. ABC was forced to pay $15 million for lying about the president. Paramount was forced to settle for $16 million over editing a propaganda piece for 60 Minutes. The Associated Press, or as I like to call them, the Associated Narrative, had to cut 8% of its workforce. A good start. Justin Castro resigned. I'm sorry, Justin Trudeau. The Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America. Woke Doctor Who was essentially canceled. The intersectional feminist Wheel of Time was canceled, leading to Amazon studio head, who's essentially Kathleen Kennedy 2.0. She was the architect of the Rims of Power, Jennifer Salke, getting fired. Rachel Zegler's Latinx Snow White bombed. Captain African American bomb. As a matter of fact, every Disney Marvel movie is bombed. Late night ratings continue to tank. Morbidly obese people are appearing less frequently in commercials. White people are back in commercials.
Let's switch channels. This show is dull. You bet.
And we'll get to those last two in just a moment, but it is more than clear that the corporations in charge of our socials, information, and entertainment are in a bit of a conundrum right now. Because it turns out these cowardly, risk-averse companies who made a conscious decision to let the extortion DEI wolf in the door, which alienated well over half of your potential customers who you need to buy the products you advertise on your web pages or stick into your TV shows on streaming services, the same people you need to buy those streaming service subscriptions or news site subscriptions, the same people you need to buy movie tickets, are just over it. And I'm not sure if it's because the investor money is dried up or that USAID money is dried up, but it also turns out that some people in some of these corporations that control our information, entertainment, and socials realize they can't just get by with half of the potential customer base. They actually need all of them. Now, is this shift that once again probably should have happened a few years ago happening fast enough? No, but there are signs and portents.
And the portents say it is time.
Again, past time, but at least something is happening. And these aren't the radical changes we wanted, but I would say look more at the reactions than the actual actions if you want to get a white pill. Speaking of late night ratings and white people being back in commercials, let's look at what's happened over the last couple of weeks. You all remember the great Sydney Sweeney controversy that somehow, inexplicably, is still going on today. Where a jeans company did the unthinkable. They put an admittedly hot woman in a pair of jeans working a pun. Now, I know there's some dudes out there who'll think Sydney Sweeney is mid, and I'll just say it's okay to be gay.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
And to show how far the bar has been lowered, this is Sydney Sweeney putting her best assets in baggy jeans. As most of you know by now, since Sydney Sweeney's ad campaign for American Eagle started, their market cap has increased by $400 million, which was fueled by a 20% stock increase. There's been an increase in foot traffic into the American Eagle stores, and the jeans have been selling out online. Oh, and I'm talking about American Eagle jeans on my channel. Is this a response to the worst forced error in marketing history, the Dylan Mulvaney fiasco? And the worst time and most ill-advised ad campaign in history, which just so happened to drop the same month the culture shifted, November 2024. That would be Jaguar. And the answer to that question is yes. And while Sydney Sweeney is plastered all over the Sphere in Las Vegas and New York Times Square, where fentanyl zombies are free to watch her all day, not everybody is happy. And these scholars, members of Mensas, sages, and wise women are not afraid to talk about it.
That's Nazi propaganda. Wow.
Those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird. Like fascist weird. Like Nazi propaganda weird.
Pure Nazi shit. Saying that a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl has good genes is Nazi.
That's racist! Sydney Sweeney's jeans ad is giving ethnic state propaganda. It is giving dystopian. It is giving 1940s Germany.
That's one ugly bitch.
Thank you for sharing. And if Sydney Sweeney and American Eagle are indeed trying to sell some white supremacy, that was a pretty good ad campaign. But seriously, this is the win. The people who were upset's insanity was on display for everyone to see. And just a few years ago, American Eagle probably would have bent the knee, but they didn't. And now in the future, we're going to get more hot women in commercials. And that's a good thing. And just a few days prior to Sydney Sweeney prancing around in her Canadian tuxedo, it was announced that Late Night with Stephen Colbert would be canceled, but it doesn't end there. He wouldn't be replaced. They just ended the show.
You're fired.
And I can hear you now, dear viewer. Why in the hell haven't they done that years ago? Good question. Considering The Late Late Show with James Corden and No UK were never taking him back, was canceled in 2023 after operating at a $20 million loss. Turns out The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and his team of writers who were never funny cost $100 million a year and was operating at a $40 million loss, despite being a mouthpiece for Pfizer and his mouth on the piece of the Uniparty. And he had the best ratings of all the broadcast late night shows, which makes you wonder how they're performing. And for that, you need to look no further than his competitors' reaction. If Jay Leno was canceled, David Letterman would have had a party and danced on his grave and vice versa. And of course, this is being framed as something that's as absurd as saying American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney are pushing eugenics and white supremacy with their jeans commercial pun. The media narrative is that Donald Trump made firing Stephen Colbert a stipulation in the Skydance Paramount merger. Over Paramount owns 60 Minutes editing a propaganda piece. Now, one may argue that 60 Minutes is just propaganda, and you'd be right. Now, I guess an argument can be made that Paramount and Skydance offered up Stephen Colbert to sweeten the deal to get that merger through, but I think the truth is that Late Night with Stephen Colbert was canceled because it cost $100 million a year, lost $40 million a year, which probably contributed to the $15 billion in debt Paramount was in. Meaning, nobody was watching it, or more importantly, buying the products that were advertised on the show. And I will not even entertain your slanders stating that this has something to do with USAID shutting down. That is a conspiracy. And quite frankly, aside from his comrades in late night, including but not limited to Jon Stewart, Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel, old boomers who need something to fall asleep to, and the corporate legacy media, everyone else is happy about this. The bad news is the show still runs for another year. The good news is we won't have clips from his show polluting YouTube anymore, and now that I think of it, I haven't seen them that much lately.
But wait! There's more!
This brings us to the king of all sellouts, Howard Stern. It was reported by the citadel of journalism, The Sun, which has never been sued for lying or stalking, that the former shock jock turned into agoraphobic twat wouldn't be re-upped by Sirius, or at least lowballed. And that would make sense considering the former self-anointed king of all media, who I used to be a big fan of. He was a man of the people. He was the voice of the working man, and he used to roast Hollywood all the time, and now he's turned into what he used to make fun of. A celebrity ass-kissing Yenta cost Sirius $100 million a year. Back during his peak, Howard Stern used to have 20 million people listening to him, and now it's being reported it's in the low 100,000s. And considering his act of late, that seems a bit high.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? F them, f their freedom. I want my freedom to live.
And you're the kind of leader I love, because we're lucky to have you in the Oval Office and serving as the father of the country, because if you're a good father to your family, which you are, I know you'd be a good father to the country.
What a biggity bitch.
And the king of all media, who used to be regularly discussed in the news for controversial statements and was truly a groundbreaking broadcaster, is now the biggest sellout of all time, and his demise can be summed up in 2 clips.
Ellen DeGeneres is such a jerk. I love
every show when you come out and dance.
And now the only time he's ever discussed in the news is no longer for hot takes, it's for bad ones. Or when this former man of the people leaves his mansion for the first time in 2 years over COVID.
Enjoy, live life.
You did get it in
Embrace
May.
life.
You did get it.
I got it after I was vaccinated. Let's not even get into that, because I know you and your boyfriend, Howard Stern, are very paranoid about this.
Or when his bosses just let his contract run out. There would have been a time where this might have upset people, but that was over a decade ago. And if you look at the reaction now, it ranges from what took you so long to good. And that's the good news. The bad news is this is just a rumor and it could all be a work. But it would be funny if the dinosaur broadcasting company Sirius XM lowballed Howard Stern and he had to take it just to feel relevant. And somewhere, Don Imus is laughing. And aside from American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney, what does everything I've mentioned have in common? From the fashion industry having dudes selling perfume and stuffing morbidly obese people into jeans, or traditional corporations in America and beyond succumbing to woke marketing, from Walmart to Target, to John Deere, to Harley Davidson, to Jaguar and Bud Light, to every single late night show, to The Daily Show, which in my humble opinion was always to Howard Stern. They chose a side, alienated half of this country, half of the potential audience / customers in other countries, and worse, made an enemy of them.
I hate you for voting for him, for not having an intelligence. I hate you. I don't want you here.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
Not a great plan.
Some obviously haven't learned their lesson, and some have. But we still have one more to talk about. Speaking of corporations that betrayed their core audience, Disney, a corporation who doesn't have a problem with naughty things being taught to kindergartners in Florida, shrunk Finn on the Force Awakens poster for China, covered up the late Chadwick Boseman's face on the Black Panther poster for China. They also didn't have a problem thanking the province that controls a concentration camp in China, and they had no qualms with doing business in a country where being gay is illegal. Yabba dabba Abu Dhabi. And they really didn't have a problem casting Pedro Pascal in 2 of their biggest franchises, even after he called half the country Confederate Nazis. But it seems they took great exception with Gina Corano making an analogy, leading to Gina Corano, with the help of Elon Musk's lawyers, suing Disney, and she won. Now, it was more of a technical knockout than a knockout, but it was a win nonetheless. Now, I would have loved to seen a video where Kathleen Kennedy starts out with
Fade in,
and then commences to, on her knees, grovel to a standing Gina Carano in full Cara Dune regalia, apologizing to Gina, the entire Star Wars fan base, George Lucas, and then resigning. I would have loved discovery and access to those emails. That would have been content for at least 2 years, and then I could retire to Abu Dhabi.
And I've on a toilet made out of solid gold, but it's just not in the cards now, is it?
But she did pull off the unthinkable. Gina made the corporate god bleed and submit. Keep in mind, this was Lucasfilm's first statement after Gina Carano's firing. Gina Carano was not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural or religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. And it was statements like that Disney was repeating right up to 2024, but now their tune has changed. The Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm are pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Gina Carano to resolve the issues in her pending lawsuit against the companies. You mean your companies. Miss Carano was always well respected by her directors, co-stars, and staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Miss Carano in the near future. That might not sound like an apology to you, because it isn't, but it's as close as we're gonna get, and the significance of this cannot be undersold. Outside of Tom Cruise, there isn't an actor in that town that could have gotten Disney to do this. And that's thanks to Gina, who has the biggest metaphorical balls in Hollywood, and Elon's lawyers. Keeping in mind, despite how much I was rooting for her, this was a tough case to prove, and Gina could have easily lost. And I'm sure that's what Disney and Lucasfilm thought too, but pride comes before the bitch slap. Also keep in mind, this did embarrass Disney. This embarrassed Bob Iger. This embarrassed Lucasfilm. This embarrassed Kathleen Kennedy. And I guarantee you, everyone in that building at the Presidio is quietly pissed, and it just make you feel good.
So good.
And again, if you don't think this is a loss, look at the reactions.
We know why the worst kinds of people are really excited about this, right? We understand why it is that they need to make this a win.
I don't lie to you.
Did Corano's anti-vax, alt-right, transphobic comments have anything to do with the fact that they don't want to work with her? Yes.
Since Bob Iger came back, there has been a complete gutting of anything that makes Disney so appealing to minority communities.
Elon Musk helped her. That's the only reason why this lawsuit went on for so long and ended up being settled, because she had unlimited funds for this lawsuit.
Now, I don't want to throw too many wins at you because you might pull something, but Rosie O'Donnell thinks because of Donald Trump, The View might get canceled. While that would be bad for content creators, it would be great for humanity. And you saw this when they lost Twitter to Elon. And when you see these minor little gains in the culture war by the other side,
Everyone loses their minds.
let's hear from the tolerant left.
White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
And the only thing less funny than woke white women with plastic in their face is woke comedians.
Yourself. Just go yourself.
I've been seeing like Jezelnik having an issue with people like Tony Hinchcliffe, who he's saying uses profanity or just shock value comedy. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, at this point, it's lazy and sloppy and hackneyed. It's hack now. I mean, you know, you guys got the freedom you wanted. You can now say whatever you want. They're defeated. Their rights have been denied. So whether they knew it or not, that's what they were spearheading. So now it's reality, and you want to still keep kicking them?
Yup. But at least there are some that are admittedly struggling with introspection.
Republicans know the difference between right and wrong in general. Like, they know what they're doing. But the left, I'm on the left. I was for, but like, I find in general, the party that is about inclusivity is incredibly elitist.
Yeah,
like
it's the loud voices that scare people from saying what they believe. You know, a lot of their points are valid, but a lot of them are also just repulsive. And I mean, they repel people from. They go like, "Oh, you're no fun. I don't want to be around you." And I think that if you had to boil it down to like one thing, that's kind of what it is. It's like, "Oh, you're no fun. I don't want to be part of your group."
Gee, I wonder why.
I saw Caitlyn Jenner saying trans girls should not play girls' sports. Caitlyn, you're a woman, right?
Wrong. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
Interesting.
It makes you wonder why people who at least seemed cool a long time ago pulled a massive 180, like Howard Stern, Sarah Silverman, and Jimmy Kimmel. To be fair, sacrificing your integrity or dignity on the altar of agenda or something else isn't that unusual in Hollywood. But whether it was authentic enough, at least Jimmy Fallon tried to do something uniting on his show when he brought on the true king of late night, Greg Gutfeld. And of course, the usual suspects roasted him for it. And this woke Hollywood again is why you lose. It's time you get with the culture or fade away because people are sick of this. The great cultural shift of November 2024 was inevitable because it was being held back. It's not like it came out of nowhere. It was more like a dam breaking. I mean, I'm glad more people are realizing this, but don't you find it strange that the vast majority of broadcast news networks sound exactly the same? Yet there was one network, Fox, that was just controlled opposition and always the enemy, and their ratings were always better? Didn't you find it strange over the last half decade that all of the late night shows sounded the same? And isn't it strange that a lot of the scripted content we saw on streaming, on broadcast television, or in the theater over the last decade, increasingly pumped it with the same 4 or 5 variations of the message? So while the media will frame this as kissing the ring of the president, or MAGA, who played their part, in truth, it's bending the knee to the customer. We need to be grateful the great cultural shift happened when it did, even if it was last minute, and thanks to their own doing, these 20th century models are now in full-on entropy and are primed to be either reinvented or replaced, and it's long overdue. And that's because of you, and I did not mean that to rhyme, because they turned the audience into an enemy, and now, as predicted, They're the competition. YouTube and other socials are dominating the dinosaur media. And this brings us to the question, is woke really dead? Unfortunately, the short answer is no, and it never will be. The good news is the tolerance of the general public to put up with it is at nil, but there's no doubt it suffered major brand damage. People are going to claim they were never about all that woke stuff. It will quietly walk away with its tail between its leg and then eventually rebrand. And you know what? Ultimately, I'm grateful that stick from BlackRock thought he could use corporations and through that our entertainment to force behaviors.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors.
Because his arrogant ass overplayed his hand and brought us to where we are today. Oh, and they're not giving up. There's still shenanigans going on, like the credit card companies trying to remove games from Steam from my fellow gamers. But thankfully, more people are aware and they're fighting back. So trying to remain grateful, and admittedly, after some heavy losses 9 months into the great cultural shift, we've actually piled up a few wins, and I'll take them. It's like what we say around here, progress, not perfection. But as it stands right now, again, while it's not dead and never will be, woke is most definitely broke.
Nerdrotic.com.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.